So, just see how it feels to take a few deep breaths for yourself at your own pace. Just allowing yourself to arrive. Just for now, leaving the rest of the day at the door and just entering this space of the present moment. You might get a sense of your body sitting on the chair or couch. The sounds of this call, the sounds around you in your space. And just beginning to bring your attention a little closer to you. Feeling the breath. So allowing all of the thoughts to be here. Just welcome all of the thinking in. It's all welcome here. Just notice the thoughts. The heartbeat. And just bringing your attention inward, inside of you. Just bringing an awareness to the mind, the heart, and the gut. However that is for you. Just noticing for a moment. And when you're ready, invite, it might be one of these, it might be all of them. Invite your mind, your heart, and or your gut to share a message with you. You can ask one or each of them, what is your message for me here and now? Just listening to what these parts have to say. And when you're ready, I invite you to invite into this space your ancestors. You might call in your ancestors. You might just notice that you are made of them, your DNA, your body. Just get a sense of this long line of humans that you come from. And ask one of them to step forward. Just notice who comes a little closer. Just asking an ancestor to come forward. And when you're ready, ask this ancestor, what is your message for me? And just listen. Take as much time as you want here. When you're ready, come on back with these messages from these parts of yourself, your ancestor. Even if we just did this, it'd be good medicine. We'll have a little moment since there's just a small handful of us. If you are open to sharing, just opening this space for shares. If you don't want to, you could just say pass. Don't all speak at once.
All right. I tend to go first, so I wanted to give space, but okay. um, So when I tuned into all three centers, I heard the message stay present, and it sounded like all of them said stay present. And then I went individually, and it was the mind that was stay present. And then just hearing the bird sounds in the background of your videos, of my heart was just like, just longing for the jungle, longing. Like it was just so, the whole conversation was just about the bird sounds with my heart. That was essentially it. um, my heart really wants me to go back to somewhere, probably Costa Rica, but and then I tuned into my gut, and it was just simple. It was rest. My gut. I'm ending my bleed right now, so that's just been the message across the board. It's just very simple, rest. Um, and then I heard my mind be like, "But it's been like 3 days we've been resting," and then the gut still was just like rest. And then tuning into my ancestors was really interesting because my mind wanted to make a face or like a person or know who it was. And I couldn't really get a clear indication on who it was. It was a man. Um, and I feel like I got a name, but I'll just keep that to myself. So, um, and the message that I got from my ancestor was to stay on, he said, stay on your path. And I wanted to know more. So I just kind of sat with that. And he just said, stay on your path. And then he showed me three kids, like my kids. I was like, oh my God, that's really sweet. But then didn't give me any other information. So, okay, that's all. That's all.
Wow. That's pretty beautiful. And something that you demonstrate there is when we really tune into these parts of ourselves, their messages are pretty clear and direct. In constellations, I've noticed that the language of the soul is often, not always, but often fewer words. And I love that. Like, boom, stay present. That sense of longing for the jungle and your gut saying rest. That's really beautiful. And the ancestor saying stay on your path and showing you the kiddos. That's amazing. And yeah, so a lot of times the ancestor will come through that we don't necessarily know, or somewhere deep inside of us, there's been hundreds of generations, so a lot of them we're not necessarily super familiar with. Thanks for sharing, Joy. Tally or Jane, do you want to go next?
I
I'll
can
go.
go.
Okay, go
Um,
ahead. I'll go after you, Tally.
all right. Um, yeah. So when I tuned into my parts, it's funny. My mind was pretty loud. It was the loudest one that I heard, and it was saying "Stay present." So I was like, yeah, of course. Um, yeah, and then my gut was giving me a little pushback, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit like, oh, like this is out of your comfort zone. You're gonna have to share and talk and be vulnerable and all that stuff. And my heart kind of jumped in and like reassured my gut that it was okay and this is a safe space and it's good to share and be vulnerable. And that's how we grow and connect with other people. So it was interesting to see how my heart kind of jumped in to save the day and calm my nerves a bit. But yeah, my brain was just like, just stay present. Don't think about the future. Don't wander off. Just pay attention to what you're doing right now. Um, So that was good. And when I tapped into my ancestors, my paternal grandmother was pretty loud and clear. Like she stepped right up front, and I hear her a lot. It's been, I don't know, coming up on almost a year since she transitioned, and I don't know, I felt a really strong connection with her a lot this last year. And she was just like, she called me by my nickname, and that I might not understand what you're doing, but I see you doing it, and keep helping people because you're helping yourself when you help other people. And so that was nice. And yeah, it's funny she called me by my childhood nickname. She's like the only one that ever called me that. So I knew it was her right away. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Oh, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. I totally understand that feeling in my own way, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. So thank you for jumping in, and so cool that your mind said stay present, similar to Joy. Must be in the tea that you made. And yeah, your gut pushing back a little bit with the little anxiousness, and your heart reassuring your gut like, hey, it's all good, it's just this safe space we can share. That's awesome. And how beautiful to hear those words from your grandmother of I might not understand, but keep helping people because it's helping you. That's really sweet. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Jane, you wanna hop in?
Initially, I was distracted. I had a family member calling me and they didn't realize I was in my office and I'm on a call. So the first part, distraction. Second part, when we were calling in, when I was able to drop, calling in our ancestors. I'm not sure who showed up. Is on my right side. A very tall, skinny man showed up. I don't know who he is. And he didn't have words. He had a lot of gestures, hand gestures, and then he did a slice through the air and opened up the air. It was like he's showing a veil, like that there's two sides. So where I am, and then opened up a veil and then popped in through the other, and he disappeared. So I have to sit with that. I have to be curious. I'm not sure what he meant by the gestures, but I know that that will come to me in the next few days or a couple weeks. So I'll have my aha moment because oftentimes I don't really understand. I don't get it at first.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm curious where he went.
Me too. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, I want to talk too.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It
That's
was
amazing.
wild.
Wow. Did you have a sense did you have a sense of his time? Some people will be like, well, I don't know who it was, but he had a boiler hat on, so he might have been from the 30s or something. Did you have any sense of that? Maybe not.
Yes. So he was very tall and skinny and had black suspenders, black slack pants, and black shoes with a kind of like
Okay.
a white shirt. So yeah, thank you for that. I forgot to pay attention to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a little bit of a timestamp there,
Hmm.
maybe mid early 1900s or, somewhere around there.
That's
Grandparent,
right.
great grandparent.
Hmm.
Cool. Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm excited to hear about the how that message integrates, and it may come through later in this call too. So
Okay.
fun mysteries to play with.
Right.
Talia, do you want to share any?
Sure. When I sat with my head I heard the message, slow down. When I sat with my heart, I heard the message, be at ease. And when I sat with my gut, it said, what did it say? Oh, be careful. It said to be careful. And then the ancestor who came forward was my mom. And she's been with me a lot today. And Hawaii is such a portal. I just arrived last night. I first moved to Hawaii 13 years ago, or the first time I moved to Hawaii was 13 years ago, when I found out my mom had passed away. And I really felt like, I came to these islands to be held by them in a beautiful way that I think no one else could really hold me. And so it feels like a portal being on the anniversary today and just really feeling her all around me. And she didn't say anything, but just her presence and in the wind and the dewdrops on the leaves outside, which feels really nice.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. So with your mom, it was more of her presence than a message. Yeah. And your mind said, slow down. Heart said, be at ease. And your gut said, be careful. All very, you see, you hear all of these messages from across the board. They're all, just these like nuggets of wisdom. In constellations work, oftentimes that's a really clear way to distinguish between speaking from a place of interpretation versus a place of like knowing, like inner knowing. Yeah, even our mind, because our mind is an incredible wizard, for lack of a better word, even our mind has a deeper knowing than what we tend to be in the superficial, blah, 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 talking, the very staticky, noisy stuff. And I feel like every one of you really exemplified that here with those messages showing that. And so I just jotted them down. There's a lot about presence here. Each of you had an element of presence, and Jane with the presence of the ancestor there, and hearing a lot about that things are okay, and to stay present and to rest and slow down. And Jane, you said you were distracted on the first part with the family member, but I would imagine that one of those three parts would have said, be at ease, or something to that effect. And so why I like to do this meditation or similar meditations is to get a sense of what is alive for our hearts and our minds, and where we want to take this little journey together. And so I'm curious for each of you to reflect for a moment. What is your relationship with presence, with being in the present moment, being present with yourself? Perhaps that means something to you like being still, or moving slowly, or being at ease. I'm curious, feel into it for a moment. What is your relationship with being present, or being in the present moment? Another way to ask this is, when there's nothing happening, what happens inside of you? And that may relate to your mind, your heart, your gut.
So for me, Zeph, it's been a long practice of probably like 15 years to really bring mindfulness and presence into my life and really working with my nervous system to be at rest. So I actually get quite excited when I have absolutely nothing to do, when I get to just sit and be. And I have a practice every morning before I even get out of bed for 10 minutes where I just lie in my bed and breathe and be with whatever is showing up. Um, it's been a practice for me to help rewire my nervous system. So I think, on the whole, most of the time I'm pretty good with presence, but of course, I'm human and sometimes other things get in the way or I get distracted or overwhelmed with maybe too much stuff on my plate. And it's a good reminder when the overwhelm is to come back and let go of the things, to bring myself back into alignment and what's important to me.
Awesome. So presence comes as like uh, a welcome space. Oftentimes, even if sometimes it's maybe some days more challenging to access than others, but in general, it's something that you welcome in.
Hmm. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Joy or Tally or Talia. We got two Tallies in the house.
I'll go. Yeah, presence. When I'm doing something like at work, my job requires a lot of just physical, repetitive stuff, and I am able to just turn my brain off and just be present with what I'm doing. But um, it's when I'm not physically doing something that my mind tends to wander, and presence is harder to achieve. So yeah, I've intentionally, embraced a mindfulness practice also probably for about the last 5 years, where I start my day off with it. I start my day and end my day with the silence and meditation, and really just tuning into my breath always helps me quiet my mind and just be present in the moment. And even throughout the day, sometimes when things get a little hectic or I find myself being reactive, um, I just can remind, I try to, I strive to remind myself to breathe and come back to my breath. And usually that helps quite a bit. But yeah, it's a practice. And a lot of times I am in my head. I daydream quite a bit, um, which, I kind of enjoy that sometimes too. It's fun to be a little floaty sometimes, but um, yeah, I guess basically finding my breath helps me stay present and in the moment instead of future tripping or dwelling on the past or getting stuck in those loops that aren't aren't necessarily healthy or productive for me. So thanks.
Absolutely. Can I ask a follow up there?
Sure.
Okay, and we'll come back around to it, so you have a little moment to ponder on it. I'm curious. You spoke to a little bit of it, perhaps, but I'm curious to come back around in a moment. When you speak of getting stuck in those loops, I'm curious what that is or what arises in those loops, when kind of toggling between past and future, or these things as just like a reflection inwardly, and then I'll come back and ask about that. Joy, would you?
Yeah. So presence. So I noticed it's easiest for me to be present when I'm outside. I'm an outdoor animal. And so when I spend a lot of time inside, my mind just runs rampant. Like this thing is ridiculous. I wake up for just a millisecond and it's already just got all these ideas and things and it's just going. And so meditation helps me ground into presence. I meditate a lot through writing. So just giving all those thoughts somewhere to land really drops me back into what's alive. And then drawing as well helps me. Drawing is my favorite place because I'm not thinking about anything. I'm very, very present with what's happening. And then, yeah, the same as, in nature, if I can just sit and stare at a tree, typically that's my sweet spot for when I notice that I'm really in my body and I'm really present. It's just watching trees blow in the wind. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing as well. And when you spoke to when you're outside, it's easier to be present. When you're inside, your mind runs rampant, and like in the mornings, you sometimes start out and there's always like. So I'm curious, and we'll loop back around to it as well. That similar question of where does your mind go in that? And you can feel into it for a moment there. What are some of those things that it runs towards? And we'll come back around to that. Thanks for sharing. Talia, you want to share?
Yeah, I feel like I struggle with presence in my nervous system. I think there's a lot more work to do on that front. And just creating more spaciousness for that practice and downtime. I find I sink into presence with more soft fascination, like watching a river, being in nature as well, playing, engaging with others. I think there's a lot of presence for me. And just working on orientation, kind of through the sense doors. That has been the most helpful tool for me recently, is tuning into the different channels of my senses and being aware of if I'm experiencing multiple simultaneously or switching different channels, and kind of playing with that game of orientation and presence. And then surfing, I think, is my favorite thing in the whole world, being in a flow state with the ocean.
So surfing and being in your senses and playing. When you and so a question to ask, and we can come back around, is in those moments when there's a bit of a struggle with presence or difficulty accessing that, I'm curious, what is filling that space? If it's thinking, or if it's whatever that might be, and we'll come back around to it. And this will help with these reflections will help with where we're headed, or where I'll invite us to go with this conversation and with the practices that we'll do here in a few minutes. I'm curious if Jane, if you have any reflections on that, because obviously we all have our balancing act when it comes to presence. And before we share, I will just say that, when you look in the eyes of a baby, like an infant, or even a young child, really young kid, we've all had that experience of just seeing how alive they are, and their eyes just like open and staring at you. And something that, whether we know it or not, we are so moved oftentimes and so affected by that presence. Yeah, and oftentimes babies arrive to this plane of existence in the state of pure presence. It's not that they can't think necessarily. Obviously, they'll develop it, but they can think. They just are being here in this moment and taking it all in. Young kids are in that state very often as well. I work with kids 5 to 10 years old, and many of them are in that state as a default. And then they transition into thinking or talking or whatever it is, feeling. And so we'll go around and share, and just giving us a little lay of the land, that as we share, what we're starting to feel into are the layers that have been added on top of our presence. Because we can see presence as the foundation of the house, and then we build all kinds of stuff on top, and it gets noisy for a lot of us. And after we share, we'll do a practice to tune in with some of that on a deeper level. So Tally or Jane, if you want to hop in and share a little bit about the question.
Well, I think for me, when my mind starts to run away and I'm not being present, it's usually towards the future. It's usually planning. It's checking off to-do lists. It's things that I need to accomplish, things that I need to accomplish, or things that I want to accomplish, or yeah, it's mainly future stuff. Even like what am I going to make for dinner? Just silly things that aren't even important. And sometimes it's a little bit of reminiscing about like experiences throughout the day, or remembering, good moments of the day, or sometimes not so good moments of the day. And those the past stuff, the things that have already happened and beyond my control, are a lot easier to like let go of. I don't really dwell there. It's mainly the future tripping that gets my brain kind of stuck in overthinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So that jumping to the to-do lists, the future tripping, as you said. I like that terminology. That's probably from a textbook somewhere, right? Future tripping. I like textbook definitions like that. They're way better than the science jargon. And yeah, what I hear in that is like sort of the unknowns. That, yeah, you said the stuff that's already come and gone. It is what it is. It's easier to let go of. But then that future stuff is sometimes uncertain or unknown. Yeah. Joy, how about you? Any reflections on the
question that you asked? Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Tally's answer, like what my mind in that space when I wake up and it just starts going. It's just trying to figure things out. It's trying to figure out what to do, and it's trying to figure out what happened. Like those are the two major categories. It's like, what do I do next? And especially in this moment in my life, I'm in transition from one lifestyle to the next. And so it's like my mind's on overdrive trying to understand. It's really what it's trying to do, is understand things. And it's the same thing with, processing past things. It's trying to understand.
Yeah. So like jumping to what to do, or jumping back to what happened, and seeking to understand. Yeah. Yeah. I feel ya. Feel both of you. And Talia, any shares?
Yeah, that really resonates as well. I was also thinking, I experience a lot of like planning, also trying to control outcomes, maybe have plan A through Z figured out if they go different varieties of ways. And I notice that's like a little bit of control that keeps me away from being present. And then also, there's a great amount of automatic distraction. I think that comes from my usage of my phone and technology, I really feel that my impulse control and the gray matter in my brain is just like an automatic distraction mode sometimes when I'm more connected to these devices. And yeah, I notice that really affects my presence.
So a similar thing, you mentioned the word control, and trying to jump to the like plans A through Z, and like trying to figure out kind of what comes next, or yeah, and then that element of the distraction with the phone and impulse control being challenging with these things that are designed to subvert our impulse control. Yeah. I can relate to that too. And so something that I find beautiful, and that gives us a sort of framework to move with here, is the similarities for each of us. And I have very similar experiences for myself too. When presence is waning, it's usually because I'm trying to figure something out, future oriented, or ruminating on, man, what happened? Like, how did that go that certain way? You know, like, man, what could I have done differently, or X, Y, and Z? And so it's beautiful to just have these conversations so that we can recognize the ubiquity of these dynamics, right? And we all know that consciously. It's another thing to go around the circle and chat about it. And then a lot of people just stop there. They just stop at, oh yeah, it's hard to be present, and I get caught up in the future or stuck in the past, and yep, that's how it goes. But we can go a lot further than that if we want to. And there's some really cool ways of doing that. And I'll invite us to explore some of that. Does that sound good? Yeah? So we can do this in a number of ways, but what's coming to the forefront is one of the major, they call them the presuppositions of NLP. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's how the nervous system and the mind speak to each other, and how we can help ourselves understand ourselves on a deeper level. In NLP, one of these presuppositions, like kind of foundational components, it says that every behavior has a positive intention. Every behavior or pattern has a positive intention. So, typically, and this is true in a lot of like spiritual philosophies, typically it's like an overactive mind is considered a bad thing. It's considered a negative thing. It's considered an unruly mind, or something that needs to be more controlled or practiced and disciplined, you know, these kinds of things. And I'd like to pose a different inroad for all of this, that actually the mind is trying to do something really good by jump into the future and trying to figure something out over there, or ruminating on the past and trying to get clear on what was going on back there. And so one way to approach this, we'll just start with that question. If your mind, or these parts of yourself that jump into the to-do lists, jump to figuring things out, attempt to control and have the plans A through Z, as you spoke to, if that was successful, if you were successfully able to accomplish that, figure it out, understand it, what would that allow you to do, have, or be? basically, if you were to do that, what would that do for you that's good, genuinely? And Joy, you're welcome to start on that. So if in that attempt to understand the future, figure it out, or understand the past, if you were able to successfully understand that, what would that do for you? That
I mean, it would have everything figured out, so I wouldn't have to worry anymore. Like everything would be done.
And if everything was done and you didn't have to worry anymore, then what would that do for you? That's even.
You muted your microphone before the last word.
Oh, what would that do for you that's even more important?
It would give me peace.
Peace. So one way to phrase it, and this might sound hilarious, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it just makes sense. One way to say it is, my mind diverges from the present moment and jumps into figuring out and understanding so that I can have peace.
Yeah, it's ironically trying to give me peace of mind. Ha.
Yeah. 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 This is a really cool thing to just, and this is our little, this is our entry point. So hold on to that. Okay. And we'll use that. Tally, how about if you were to successfully check off all those to-do lists in the future trip? If your future trip was totally successful, it was the most amazing vacation ever, and it all came clear, then what would that allow you to do, have, or
Yeah, I think it comes down to control and peace of mind, like a knowing, like not having to live in the uncertainty. Um, it's just having it figured out. Yeah, it's just trying to understand. Um, and also a sense of accomplishment, like completing the things that I need to get done, but worrying about things that haven't happened yet is it's silly, because even as much as I try to control what my day is going to look like, it never truly ends up that way. So, yeah.
yeah. And so if you were to successfully be able to control how your day shows up, and you were able to, you had that sense of accomplishment and that peace of mind, then what would that do for you? What would you be able to do, have, or be?
The thought that just keeps popping in my head is that it would be kind of boring, if everything worked out the way I planned it to be, because I don't know. But at the same time, it would feel safe. It would feel secure,
Yeah.
I'd feel accomplished, and yeah, wouldn't have to worry about things, I guess it's a
So
simple answer.
yeah, so safety and security being some of those like deeper core elements that are important there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So it's like saying, okay, my mind jumps into these to-do lists and is on its future trip, and concerned with the unknowns and all of that, so that it can provide me safety and security, so that I can try to arrive at that place of having enough control to feel that safety and security. Does that feel reasonably? Does that resonate?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay. Okay, so hold on to that, and we'll use that as our entry point here, okay? And Talia, do you want to share?
Yes, contentment, happiness, yeah.
Yeah. And when you have that contentment and that happiness, what does that allow you to do, have, or be?
Be completely present. Yeah,
Be
okay
com-
with everything.
And when you're completely present, up to your eyeballs in presence, then you could be alive. And what would you do with your aliveness?
Dance around in the rain.
Dance around in the rain. Yeah. And when you've danced around in the rain for, a marathon, then what does that do for you that's even more important? Being alive.
Just for complete joy.
Complete joy. Yeah. So by attempting to control and figure things out, and having, plans A through Z sorted out, there are these elements of striving to feel alive and to have complete joy and presence. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So then, what we get to do here, what we've outlined, and let me know if it gets hard to hear as this rain comes in. What we've outlined are how it has been, right? The future tripping, and how we would like it to be. You could say current state, desired state. How it's been, what we're trying to get to. And so there's two ways to go about this next part. We could ask the question, where is this rain coming from? We could ask the question relative to how it has been. You could ask the question, when's the first time you remember experiencing that? So say the future tripping, or jumping to to-do lists, or trying to figure things out, trying to understand what happened back there. Attempting to have control, to sort things out, to have plans A through Z. When's the first time you remember experiencing that? When did that begin? For this round, we won't share it right away. Just get a sense of that for yourself. And if you come to something in your teenage years or as an adult, go further back. Another way to ask this is, when did you lose touch with that desired state? So that sense of aliveness, or that peace of mind, or that state of joy, that safety or security. When did that shift? Sometimes it's hard to pin down. And if it's unclear, you could ask, was it with mom or dad? With who did the safety and security feel jeopardized? with who did you need to jump to figuring things out, or try to figure out, well, what happened there? Or, what am I going to do next here? What's my plan A through Z? Almost always it'll come back to mom or dad or both, someone in the house as a kid. Any idea?
Are you opening it up to share? Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's not even a little bit, it's a lot of bit of both. It's both parents. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when, because it just right out the gate was like that. Lots of moving around, lots of fighting, lots of just like so much chaos that I think it developed this desire for my brain to understand what the hell is going on. And when things would not feel great, I didn't know exactly what had happened and why they didn't feel great, or if I got in trouble or something like that. Um, it was just hard to understand the situations in general. Mm-hmm.
Tally, well, Joy, thank you for sharing that. Tally, would you like to?
Um, I didn't really get a sense of when it happened for me, like in my home. The big message I got was when I started worrying about what my day was going to look like, or my to-do list and stuff, is when I started going to school, even like preschool, um, when I was out of the home, when I was out of the safety of my home. Um, because before school, like my days, I didn't have any responsibilities, except to get outside and go play in the creek or ride my horse or be out in nature. I spent all my time outside, and it wasn't until I had to like go to school and be around other people and other kids and teachers and um, you know, do assignments and relate with others that I think I started worrying about how, I guess, how I was going to show up, you know, because my home as a kid was safe and easy, and you know, my job was to get outside and be a kid and have fun until I heard my mom whistle and it was time to come home for dinner. That was like the only thing I had to worry about. It was pretty awesome actually. But school, yeah, school changed everything, I think, for me.
Yeah. So when you said when you left the safety of home and started to go to school, that's when that trying to figure things out and have your day planned and all that started to come in. I find it potent that you use that word safety, and in your positive intention, it was safety and security, and that home was safe, and that you mentioned in preschool you started to go to school. Yeah, so that would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 4, 5, 6 years old, and all right. So hang on to that, and we'll come back to that too. Thank you for sharing, Talia. You want to share?
Yeah. Yeah, it happened when I was maybe 3 years old. parents fighting and feeling responsible for my mother's happiness. And my father was really abusive.
Yeah. Thank you. And so the question here, Tally, would be, who did you need? And maybe it's both, but it's like, mom or dad, who did you, when you started going to school and there was that, losing the safety of home. One way to ask is, who did you need at that time? You don't have to share, but just for yourself. Maybe it's mom, maybe it's dad, maybe it's both. Yeah. And so what we have is the early memory of this. Are you guys open to doing a little meditative process to connect with yourself at that age? Does that sound okay? Okay. So in whatever way you like, you can get comfortable here. Yeah. You're welcome to close the eyes. And just taking a breath. We're inching into some vulnerable territory here. Just giving yourself some gentleness. It's all welcome here. And just starting with the recognition that these parts of you are really trying to do something good. Trying to find safety and aliveness and joy and peace. These are amazing things to want for ourselves. It's worthwhile to start with okay, I'm on the right track. My intentions are good. If I want peace for myself, if I want aliveness, if I want presence and joy, all right. And so when you're ready, call in the energy of that little you that you described. If it's the preschool you or the early days or 3-year-old you, just call her in to stand in front of you. You might see her, you might feel her, you might hear her. Just inviting in that presence of that little one. And just notice how she is, how she's feeling. She might be doing something. She might be looking at you, whatever that is. And when you're ready, ask this little one if she's willing to communicate with you. So ask if she's willing to talk with love. And as long as she said yes, ask her, hey little one, what do you need? What do you want? What do you need? And just listen to what she says. Just taking your time here, giving her a chance to speak and to feel. And in whatever way you want to, just acknowledge and validate her needs and what she is wanting. And you can ask her who she needs that from. Oftentimes it will be mom or dad, or both. And see how it feels to say to her, you didn't get everything you needed. And there's this really wise part of you, inside that knows how to get that now, that thing that this little one needs. Ask this little you if she's willing to talk with this other part of you, this wise part that knows how to get that now. So we have the little you, and we have this wise part of you. This little you needed what she needed, oftentimes from one of your parents, or both. So when you're ready, invite that parent or both parents into this space with little you and this wise part of you. So what we'll have here is little you, the wise part of you, and one or both parents. If you see them, if you feel them, if you hear them, however that is for you, just trust that. And have this wise part of you communicate to your parent or parents simple acknowledgement. Just have that wise part communicate to your parents. She needed more from you. Speaking on behalf of the little one. She didn't get everything she needed. And have this wise part say, back then, she needed it from you. And have this wise part tell them, I'll take it from here. What we're doing is acknowledging that that little one needed more from her parents. And that part of you has been trying to get it. And we're inviting in this wise part, who knows how to get it now, to step in. When you're ready, ask this wise part of you, how can we get that here and now? How can we find that peace of mind, that aliveness, that safety and security? Just ask this wise part of you to give you a few options. And when you're ready, ask the little one if she's open to that. If she's willing to let this wise one take over from here. See how it feels for that little girl to look at her parents and say, I got enough. Not perfect, but good enough. And so see how it feels for this wise part of you and this little one to walk together. And you might see or imagine or feel into a moment in the future when you have this option available to you. And just see how that feels. You might get the sense of the next moment that you have the option to tune in with these future thoughts and just see how that goes. Just having these resources of the wise self. When you're ready, you can release your parents from the space. You might give the little one a hug or give the parents a bow. Just recognizing that they brought you into the world. Bringing that wise self with you. Come on back when you're ready. Let's take just a couple breaths when you're ready. And opening this space if you'd like to share or ask. Joy, anything to report?
Um, um, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a lot. Um, but what I loved with that visualization and then asking the questions of just the conversation between my little girl and the wiser part, and just like essentially figuring it out, like, what is it that you need? What can we do moving forward? And my heart chimed in and was like, "Got that." And yeah, it was really cool to have all the parts. Like, I just had this whole conversation of being outside and seeing Costa Rica again, and my mind was like, but how are you gonna make that, wanting to know. And I just felt that wiser part of myself and my child kind of fuse and just be like, by like, if you want peace, it's to be peace. Like, do peaceful things. Like, that's the most simple answer we have for you, is like, embody those things by doing them first, and then you create more of that. Um, so yeah, that was quite lovely. Um, yeah, I'll just sit with the rest of it. A lot. It's a sensitive space.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that. If you want peace, do peaceful things. It's like timeless wisdom. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, the invitation here for all of us is that no pressure at all to share at all, and certainly no pressure to share some of those more sensitive parts. So yeah, thanks for feeling that for yourself. Tally, do you want to share?
Yeah, a whole lot. I just, I need to, I just need to sit with that for a bit. I don't have anything to concretely share. But thank you.
Okay, beautiful. And if there's any follow-up wanted or needed to support that, then I'm happy to follow up either in this call or one-on-one too. If yeah, we went into some depths there. Talia, anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I was just focusing on how to create a stable and safe home, and whatever home means, and just really reflecting on doing that within myself. And still there's like an element of, but oh, I can't control, like, my landlords, or there's a lot of elements we can't control. So I was a little frustrated with that initially, and then there was more clarity around, there's a lot we still can't can't control. We can't keep people alive or keep people safe, but what you can do is you can choose positive, healthy people. You can have better boundaries. You can choose to cultivate your environment to the best of your ability within yourself and externally outside yourself. And yeah, a lot of trust and faith in that too, but that also is very hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that some of what the wise part shared? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any questions or any thoughts or anything that you want to share or ask after that? We'll close fairly soon, and yeah, open to any questions or thoughts on what we've gone through as a whole.
I think I'm struck by, like, I consider myself somebody who has done a lot of work, and I help other people do their work. And so to go back into some of those core places, like those origin places, and it's still to be tender is humbling. It's very humbling, and it's still is very vulnerable to invite those three aspects, the inner child and the parents all together. And that just shows like our core of what we were given, where we started. And that's, I think, where the deepest wounds can lie, is because they're so old and they happened at a time where you're so fresh. It's like having like a fresh piece of fruit and then jabbing your nail into it. It's like it's so vulnerable. And then so to go back into that, no matter who you are, it seems it just brings a lot up. And so it's really helpful, but also like I kind of feel like reopening a wound.
Yeah. It's both. And thank you for sharing that and speaking to that. And so there's a part of this that I wanted to touch on before. It was the graph, the image that I was trying to find, and it's more of a conceptual thing, but it'll help give some context as to why going into these things can be really beneficial long term. There are two types of bonds that are observed in family constellations. There's what are called hierarchical bonds and horizontal bonds. Hierarchical bonds are in our families. So we've got grandparents up here. They came first, and they're responsible for the life of our parents who are here. And our parents are responsible for our life. And so we're here. And it's not a better or worse, it's just who came first. And the metaphor is that love flows downhill. And so the energy comes from our grandparents, flows down into our parents, flows down into us. And in this utopic ideal family, we theoretically could receive the love and support and energy that we need from our parents. They are literally responsible for that, because they're literally responsible for our existence. However, obviously for all of us, myself included, we didn't get all of that when we needed it and when we actually relied on them for it. What ends up happening is that the horizontal bonds, which are between partners, between friends, between siblings, between just people in the world, everyday folks who are not responsible for our existence, we attempt to get what we needed from our family bonds. We attempt to get those in our day-to-day bonds. Yeah, Joy.
I think your fancy microphone might be doing something funny. Is it, or maybe it's just my tally. Do you hear that too? Okay. It's like crunchy sound.
It's only when you're
Ooh.
speaking. Is
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How is it now?
Still crunchy.
Okay. Let me switch.
Thank you. It's just hard to hear what you're actually saying.
Okay. Can you hear me
Oh.
better now?
Yeah. Thanks.
So, yeah, so we have those hierarchical bonds where the love flows from grandparents to parents to children. And we have horizontal bonds where love flows horizontally between, say, partners or friends, peers, people in the world who are not fundamentally responsible for our aliveness, for our existence. But what happens is when we don't get that love that we needed from our parents, when we actually relied on them for it, we try to find that from those with whom we have horizontal bonds. Yeah, so the love that we needed from our parents who were responsible for it, we try to find in these dynamics where people are not responsible for that, fundamentally. That's a huge part of the dynamics that play out in our daily lives. And so part of going into this, to speak to what you're bringing up, Joy, part of going into these old places with that wise part of us is to acknowledge what it was that we needed and offer the opportunity to give that to ourselves now and to find creative ways to enact that now, to generate that rather than continuing to be in that very real place that we were as a child that said, hey, I need this from you. And so instead being able to find creative ways to provide that for ourselves now. It simultaneously validates the need and that it didn't come and that we have more options now. And oftentimes the thinking and the attempting to figure it out is a response to the past. And so we get to update that. Yeah. And I'm curious if anything arises from that.
I mean, yeah. Just like what my wise part and heart were saying was just like move towards peaceful feeling things. And then in the sense of relationship, just in this context that you brought up, I think mine right now feels more like situational, like environmental, which I believe all things are relationships. So like my relationship to home, my relationship to like the physical reality around me. But just moving towards things that feel peaceful. So it's instead of looking for that from an external place, just choosing that on the regular in small ways, like when I wake up, choosing something peaceful instead of allowing the chaos mind monster to happen, moving towards peace, people that feel peaceful rather than, the like one person in the corner that's being like, you know, enticing, but kind of unsteady. So just, yeah, finding that peace and stability in small ways.
Absolutely. And that's the very thing that we basically didn't have available to us as a kid. If you were stuck in the environment that you were in, there wasn't much of an option. And so maybe the option was, well, I got to figure this out. I got to sort out what the heck happened, because I'm here. I'm stuck in this house with these people. And now that's freaking beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Joy, because now that is the option, or one of the many options that is available now that maybe wasn't as a kid. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful and insightful and helpful. Yeah. Tali or Talia, are there any things that you feel to share? Anything that arises as we chat about these things? Totally optional.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, effectively updating the software. Recognizing, wow, I really needed something from them. Absolutely needed it. And didn't get it in the ways that I needed it. And saying, okay, how can I self-source that now? It's like holding both. Yeah. Yeah. I love you all. Is it okay if we close with just a very short, like 2-minute little meditation to integrate? That feel okay? Okay. So you're welcome to close your eyes. Receive a big, deep breath. One more big, deep breath. And see how it feels to just so simply thank all parts of yourself. Your child self, the part of you that is your mother, the part of you that is your father, this wise self that can carry you now. See how it feels to thank all of that, just as it is. And just invite in the wisdom and the love that's available for you. Just drinking that in, allowing what we've moved in this conversation to continue to integrate in support of you, in support of your intentions. Supporting your peace of mind, your safety, your joy and aliveness, your presence. Just bring in all those good things home in this moment. I love you all. Thank you for going there into these vulnerable spaces. I pray that it's supportive, nourishing, and I'm here to talk. I'm here to integrate afterwards. If there's anything that you want to follow up with, I'm here for that. And we'll do another call next week as well. Thanks for your rawness and your vulnerability and openness and willingness to go there.
Thank you, Zeph.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks, Seth.
You're welcome. Thank you. And yeah, feel free to reach out. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.